Well, and just like that, we are live. It's Wednesday, it's hump day. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Cody Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. Importing now. How are you, boo?
I am good. I know. We were just getting ready for the show here. This is episode 747. And I see a few people coming into our live stream here. And we welcome everybody to put in those comments and questions. But let's just get into it because episode 746 really kind of created a whole stir, and we have part two tonight. And episode 746, if you haven't listened to it yet, really was based off of a show that I was watching, Age of Attraction on Netflix, that really has to do, it's a dating series, straight people, but we put ourselves into the mix, and we were discussing, what if you didn't know the person's age and you just started dating blindly, and you developed connections and went on several dates, and you started off on a retreat, but then ultimately went into what's called the promise room because you had this connection with this other person to reveal what your actual age was and if you wanted to move forward with the connection. And then I'll let you listen more to the show or just watch the show yourself. We broke it down to dating with our co-host Jeremy Ross Lopez, but tonight we are moving forward to part two, calling this the daddy divide: power, desire, and
Oh,
age dynamics in gay dating. If last episode we asked if age matters, this episode we're asking why it turns us on and when it becomes a problem. We talked about age, how it shapes attraction, perception, and even the choices we make in dating. But we didn't fully talk about something we all know is there: power. Because in gay dating, age isn't just a number, it's an identity. Things like daddy, boy, twink, sir. These aren't just labels, they come with expectations, dynamics, fantasies, and sometimes imbalance. So today we're asking the question: are we attracted to people or what they represent? When does an age gap feel sexy and when does it feel complicated? And are we actually choosing connection or playing out roles we've learned? Let's get into it. Let's start. What makes daddy energy attractive? Cody, things like confidence, stability, experience, sexual relationships. What does daddy actually mean to you? And is it about age or energy?
I would definitely say it's more about energy because there's young daddies out there. There are daddies that are of daddy age that don't seem like a daddy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do think that like it's all about the energy. Yes, that whole daddy visage and that allure of maybe like a physical type could is has its place there, and it really helps drive fantasy forward, or that whole embodiment of the daddy. All of that is included with a visual, and it makes it that much more palpable. But it doesn't necessarily have to be there. It's definitely about an energy, about being able to be secure and kind of a rock to lean on, and somebody that is just like stable and there for you. And yeah, they can wrap you in their big arms and
I agree with you. It's that energy, I think. And if you listen to older episodes of this podcast, you'll hear me in particular wondering if I was becoming into that daddy. I'm 55, but I don't know that I really embraced it until a few years ago. And I definitely have now. And it's definitely come maybe a little bit later. I don't know that there's really an age of when somebody becomes a daddy. We really were
Mhm.
focused on the actual number on the last episode, or perceived numbers when you don't know someone's age actual number, and then when you actually find out, and the perceptions that come along with it through societal and just being in the community. But I don't know that mine was a little bit later, if you will. but it really had to do with confidence and how I carry myself, and then the people that I was attracting. And of course, I mentioned my husband's 11 years younger than me. I don't know if I knew his age at the time, but we
Mhm.
don't really play so much in the daddy son role, although we do say "sir" to each other here and there, and that can be kind of fun, but it's kind of
Woof.
a confidence, and I would say for me, it's played out in how I present myself in social media, and for this show, I've really embraced my daddiness in terms of really imparting the wisdom that I've learned throughout the years, through my storytelling, through just being confident and telling my age, to how I present myself in my pictures. And
Mhm.
it's a confidence that I think I've really leaned into that's really kind of been fun, to be honest, that I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I think that one of the best things about getting older is coming into not only being a daddy, but just kinda, like, being more confident and secure within yourself, and I think that just comes with life experiences. I feel like my last relationship in all of this past year, releasing an EP, doing all the things, becoming
Yeah.
close with friends, all of that helps add to this whole security and knowing myself. So I feel like that is a huge part of being a daddy, like, knowing who you are and, just leading with that.
We talked a little bit about it in the last episode on perception in our community over the last several years, where people lead with their OnlyFans and use the word daddy. I'm thinking of Daddy
Mhm.
Will, who's of Tantric Fitness. And shout out to Will, love you.
Hey, Will. Hey, Daddy Will.
And yeah, and I think it's become almost a sexual thing in our community in a good way that maybe always wasn't there earlier periods. I feel if you said your age, we didn't really lead that much, I feel, back in the day, and now we do, which I think can be a really good thing. But if we're talking about fantasy versus reality, things like daddy and the younger dynamic in things like porn, social media versus, say, real life, fantasy can be, like I said, porn controlled, sexy, clear roles. We all know those porn where they're led by daddy or the daddy son, or my favorite, those porns where they go into the doctor's office and it's a clearly younger person and they're being examined by the older daddy, and then it turns into an examination, which I think can be really
Mm.
fun.
Of the
Social
prostate?
Yeah, right, exactly. "Let me
A
introduce
prostate
you to your
exam.
body," right, as opposed to, say, like, reality, which has things like emotions, expectations,
Your doctor better not
imbalance.
be doing that kinda thing to you in a reality.
Right. I mean, it's hot until it's real, that I think can be the fantasy versus reality. What do you think of that whole construct?
Oh, yeah. I think that, it's very easy to lean into the fantasy part of it. I
Yeah,
feel like when you are that is something that you just can, latch on to very easily, and then when it becomes a reality, you realize that there are things that are, like, socially acceptable that you maybe not be comfortable with. There's just so many layers to it as far as reality is concerned that you get to let go of when you're actually having the fantasy. So it's a release, and it's easy to kind of forget about all of the down things that are negative about the whole experience, and really just kind of lean into the whole fantasy of it all, which I think is very freeing and it's good to explore with. But then when you come back to reality, you're like, oh wow, I don't know if I
right.
would want to do that in real life, but it could be very hot to think about for sure.
Well, we are live, and Doug says daddy is more of a mindset rather than age. And yes, and I think that's what my point was at the top of the show, where I was really saying that I don't remember if there was an age. It just seems like in the last several years I've embraced that and enjoyed that side of myself. I really like that. Adrian, watching us live, says a man with a daddy energy is someone who is confident, comfortable with his identity, and is someone who knows what he wants. I love a man with daddy energy. Yeah, I think in over the last several years, it's just if you can kind of tap into aging as a gay queer person, and
Mhm.
then that aligns with your confidence and you just bring that into the mix and the walking into a room, you already come in with a an advantage in many ways because people I think really like people that have confidence and that take charge and that irregardless of how you look, I think if just how you present yourself is very alluring, and I really like that. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Keep those comments coming through. So let's talk about power dynamics because
Okay.
when we talk about power dynamics, we can talk about things like financial power. We all know about David Geffen, who at 80 married somebody that was much younger, a former porn star, and it ended 6 months later in a really awful battle, divorce. It didn't work out. Emotional
It
maturity,
worked out
aga
for the younger guy. It didn't work out
ultimately,
for
it worked
David
out, yeah, in
Geffen.
that regard, it did, yeah. Emotional maturity and the gaps that that can show, but I think we're gonna talk a little bit later that sometimes emotional maturity doesn't in our community in particular, because some of us maybe came out later, never dealt with the maturity that we needed to, and now we're adults and we're very young and immature. So, and then you can meet like an old soul. So that could
Yeah.
show up in different ways. The experience imbalance. So somebody that's traveled more, experience things like cruising, dark rooms, BDSM, three ways, open relationships, had many relationships, as opposed to somebody that hasn't, that could really factor into
Oh,
how
yeah.
it works. And then control versus guidance, which can be hot at times, but then can also show up in boundaries that could be broken. So, is the attraction, Cody, about connection or about control?
I think it's under the best circumstances, it's about connection. Under a lot of circumstances, it's about both.
Yeah.
And under the worst circumstances, it's all about control. So I feel like it's very easy to abuse your power as someone that is older in the this type of situation. It's very easy to kind of lead as an older person as the daddy in order
Yeah.
for like I feel like the younger person in these types of relationships, just outside looking in, generally speaking, not necessarily for every single relationship, but just in general, the younger person is a little bit more submissive, will acquiesce a little bit more as far as what the decisions are that are going to be made because they feel like this older person has more knowledge and more wisdom and more guidance to give them. So I feel like that can be with a lot of power, a lot of things can go down. So I feel like a lot of these older gentlemen are kind of, I would say not a lot, but some people abuse that type of power and they really just use it to make sure that they get what they want out of the situation.
I feel like we have a few
Mhm.
Janet Jackson references too. Control, and we've got the knowledge. All these things come into play. And yes, I think it can. I'll never forget, I had a friend that always liked younger, had a lot more money, tended
Mhm.
to have attract younger guys that didn't have a lot of money, and then he would get mad
Mhm.
and complain to me that, well, I'm always paying for everything. I said, well, you set this up. You went after those guys that you knew they didn't have as much money as you did. You knew you had way more experience. And I think he liked that at first, but then as it became comfortable, as the other person got used to being taken out, got used to the nice house and not paying for anything, then he would complain. So it was kind of a catch bait thing that I don't think really was healthy. And I tried to tell him, I'm not sure if he ever changed. I don't really talk to him anymore. I mean, not all age gaps really are
Yeah, and
unhealthy.
we're
They could
saying
be,
all.
yeah, right. But ignoring the dynamics could equal problems later. And that I do think this show does a good job of Age of Attraction, that it's all beautiful and amazing at first and hot, but depending on where you're going with it, if it's a friends with benefits thing, it shouldn't really even matter because we
Yeah.
talked about it on the last show. Sex is sex. And I don't think that really comes into play. But I do think if you're going into a relationship, depending on the age gap, so I mentioned on that show, there was a 27-year-old and a 60-year-old,
Yeah.
and spoiler alert, sorry, they don't make it,
They don't
and
make it?
they don't make it, they
Aw.
don't even get to the next phase of it, because I just think
Wow.
60 and 27, it's like, that's kind of a huge gap. I'm
And we were
it
talking about it in the last episode, but the cultural touchstones, that's kind of important, honestly, to be able to relate to people, on that type of level to where your references are there's overlap on them. So anyway, continue.
the 60-year-old will get your Green Acres reference that you used on the last episode that I know you said you watched at Nick at Night when you were a kid,
When I was
but
like 5, I used to live for Zsa Zsa Gabor.
but
Are
I don't
you
even think the
kidding me?
27-year-old would they know Nick at Night? Are they still
Girl,
showing that show anymore? I don't think
so
so.
they don't even know the Spice Girls. I have to quiz the people at my job all the time. I have to be like, "What are the 5 Spice Girls?"
It's
It's
yeah, I mean,
hilarious. It's
yeah, there was a
laughable.
funny moment in the series where they're talking about one of the younger guys who's dating a more mature woman is saying that, oh, I was about to get a baseball contract, but I had a huge injury that didn't allow me to go down that path. And she's like, oh, yeah, I used to play softball and played in various teams and was
Oh, that's
recruited.
dope.
And so they had that in common. It was really cool. And he goes, oh, the younger one goes, oh, there was a movie, I believe, based on a all female. I think it was called, and she's like, yeah, League of Their Own. And he's like, he knew it. So I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. He knew. But then she
That's awesome.
says, oh, yeah, I think Madonna's in it. And he's like, wait, Madonna acts? Which was kind of a funny thing. And because it's like, well, maybe not the greatest actor of all time, but she has acted throughout the years. And he didn't
Yeah.
know any of her acting stuff. Maybe that's a good thing. Just focus on her
League of
music.
Their Own. She
But
was
she's
amazing in
really good
that.
in that movie, just
Yeah,
for the
the
reference on
kids
that.
out
But
there.
yeah. And it
Also, I
can,
don't know if you've
yeah.
seen this TikTok of these kids trying they don't know what Whitney Houston in the 80s looked like. They're like they put up a picture of Whitney Houston in the 80s and they're like, "Who is this celebrity?" And none of them get it.
Oh, I
None of
loved
them.
Whitney in the 80s with that like hair that was just kind of big and bows in
That's
her
it.
hair and all kind of very fun jumping around. She couldn't dance, but she could jump. And yeah, it was super fun.
She couldn't dance, but she could jump.
Couldn't
I'm
dance,
getting
but
you a
she
shirt
could
that says that.
dance. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's talk about
Hilarious.
internalized ageism. So things like fear of aging in our particular gay culture, aging out of some people might feel aging out of desirability or becoming what you once filtered out.
Ooh.
Are you rejecting older men or rejecting your future self? I know we wanted to talk about that. When
We did.
you're only going through a certain age gap that you want to date, but then you find all of a sudden, well, in your case, you look so young that,
Who, me?
maybe at the time people didn't look, I always looked younger than my age, but I think I was always open to it. But
Yeah.
did you ever have like a number that was like, uh-oh, if I get to that age, that's old and I would never date that. And now you're getting close to that age?
Yeah, I think on my when I as far as I've been dating, my age gap for dating was 10 years. So there was a certain point like where I wouldn't have dated a 40-year-old. And I'm in my 40s right now and back in my 20s, I definitely thought that 40 was old, and, like, I was like, "Oh, I can't even imagine being 40 years old. It's gonna be so old. My life is gonna be not over, but I'm just gonna be sedentary. I'm gonna just be
I mean, I'm
sitting
sure Zsa
around,
Zsa Gabor or Ava Gabor,
watching
whichever one
watching
was yeah.
Shasha." But yeah, that's not what life is like now. So
I think it was
maybe.
Ava Gabor, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but anyway,
Jaja
sorry.
was. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
See? You got I don't know, I was so young. I don't I
Uh-huh.
don't remember. But yeah, I definitely probably did not I was running away from aging probably because I feel like for me, aging when I was in my 20s, not now, and not probably in my 30s too, because I kind of let that go, and it was a good thing
Yeah,
to let any of that fear go. But in my 20s, I definitely I feel like I worried a little bit more about aging and what life would look like as an older gay man, because I don't know if we saw a lot of older gay men out there in the community because there's so many factors that were out there, the AIDS epidemic, so much homophobia out
true.
there. So people had to hide more. But yeah, so all of those factors kind of uh, weighed heavy on my mind about what me growing older as a gay black man would look like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very a common belief. I mean, for some reason, I grew up in as a gay person in my 20s and surrounded myself. My best friend was 20 years older than me, still my best friend. Shout out to Larry in San Francisco. And I hung around with his best friend, which was even 10 years older. And the three of us would run around San Francisco. And I was met through him a more mature gay crew. And I think they helped shape me for my tastes and what gay men were doing, thriving and career wise. And I think it was really good for me in that I saw them living a really productive, healthy, fun sexual life. And it was a good mentorship. I always called my friend Larry my mentor. He's my best friend, but my mentor. And it was really good for me. I don't know that I thought so much about it. I think we have a tendency as the the more we age, it's so when I was going to be 40, I was like, okay, well now that's young and 40 years old. And then I turned 50, it's like, oh, now 50 is young. And so and I'm 55 now. And so I keep moving the needle a little bit, but I feel young, I feel healthy, and I think I'm embracing, like we said, the daddy side of it. And I think it's really a good thing. And so I don't know if aging out of desirability, at least for us, is we're thinking in those clips. So I'm not rejecting, you know, my future self at all because I had really good examples. But I can
Yeah.
understand if that wasn't your, you know, you didn't have a
And I
lot of
feel like
examples.
Yeah, I feel like in my mid 20s ish, it happened. It I let go of that pretty early on. I feel like because of what you just described, I started hanging out with more gays that were a little bit older, so I got to actually see that that was something that was available to me to growing older gracefully and with love in my life and a more active lifestyle. But I feel like I still in the back of my mind feel like getting older is kind of scary. I really, really honestly do. Because you were talking
You
about it and you
do?
were like, "Oh, yeah." I feel like it's something that I mean, like, we can't all avoid it, but what if, tomorrow I wake up and we all know on this show that I'm pretty vain, and I'm like, "Oh, what if I start to look old?" I think that is what probably scares me the most is looking old. Or what if
Yeah,
I
I
can't
don't
my bones are starting to creak a little bit too. What if I can't drop it like it's hot in the club anymore?
I
So,
will say as somebody that's at least 10 years older than you, yes, I mean, nowadays we were talking on a recent episode, the science is on our side. You work out, you take care of yourself, but what becomes really important in many ways is your actual health, not how you look maybe on the outside, but like I just finished, oh my gosh, I talked about on a recent episode. I just finished my yearly physical, and
Mhm.
at this stage, you do all the blood work, and they're looking at everything, including prostate health. We had Mama Tits on the show talking about stage 4. Then it was 55, time for the second time to get the colonoscopy. He did the endoscopy, which that came out good too. And then I went to my dentist, and teeth are looking good. All those things that all came back with a clean bill of health, and I feel really good. That becomes so important. And then we're in a good science period where you can do injectables, or you can work out, and you can take care of your skin.
Ooh.
And if you were taking care of your skin, and if you embrace your daddy side, all that can collide. But your health, your spiritual health are all things that tend to matter, which kind of leads us into our next segment on this topic, which has to do when it doesn't work. So, different life stages, if you're meeting somebody else, going out versus staying in. I used to have to, I literally, you made something, a statement about how getting older kind of scares you. I used to have a period where I had to go out every single weekend. It was just, I mean, it was part of the curriculum. I looked forward to Saturday night. I mean, it was just, now if I don't go out on a certain weekend or week, it's fine. We cook, Diego and I cook, we do other things. I like to go out still, but if I was dating somebody significantly younger, they might be in that period where they want to be out having a good time, and that could, and maybe we would just have to look at it in a different way. Okay, you go out and I'm staying in, but that brings up
Mm.
a whole host of other things that could come in.
Mhm.
Career building versus stability. Somebody that's just getting their career off the ground versus stability. And what if you didn't have the money that David Gevin had, that you could just take care of somebody? That could be a whole thing. You need them to work, but they're at a different point, in their life. Mismatched expectations, fun versus commitment, mentorship, I mentioned, versus partnership. I mean, have you ever, Cody, been in an age gap dynamic that felt good at first but didn't hold up?
I don't think I've ever been in an age gap dynamic. I feel like 10 is does 10 years count? I feel like that is still.
Yeah, it's well, I'm in 11. I don't think with us it does. It depends on the person, but
Yeah,
not as much. I mean, as we're seeing in this series, as we're seeing in the David Geffen thing, where it's huge, huge gaps.
like
We're talking
15, 20.
30
Yeah,
to, you know, yeah, 25 plus years. I think it can kind of show up. And
yeah.
you have to really be secure and know, everybody has to know what's happening there. I don't know if it could work. I'm sure there's examples where it is
I'm
working.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure, and I would like to hear from those. Maybe we should get age
Yes.
gap couple on. If you're an age gap couple and you would like to be on Tag's podcast,
Yeah,
right
because I
to
think
either
when it
Steve or
does,
I.
absolutely, let us know. We'll give our DMs at the end of the show, or go to tagspodcast.com. I mean, like you said, when it does work, you could have shared values, emotional alignment, mutual respect for each of your roles. That could be really healthy, I believe there are examples out there. I think it's not as easy. But
Yeah.
let's do a fun lightning round to kind of end this, and just
Okay.
say which comes to the top of your mind.
I love a lightning
Daddy,
round.
yes, me too. Daddy or boy? What's your type?
What's my type? I love a daddy.
You love a
Daddy on
daddy?
daddy action. What about you?
I I would say boy right now, because Diego's kind of younger than me, so he's the boy, and
Oh,
yeah.
oh, I do love a boy too, but daddy on daddy action for me.
Biggest age gap you date seriously?
Date seriously. I would date any age. I would date a 60-year-old.
Age
I would
gap,
date.
though.
Okay, probably about date seriously. 20 years is the most I could think about for dating seriously.
I think I would, that's a good solid number, 20, yeah. I would do 20 too. But if you were on this series, you wouldn't be able to pick that out. But yeah, 20. Is
Oh,
daddy a compliment or a role? Ooh.
It's become a compliment to me. I think
Yeah.
when I was just coming into my daddyhood, I feel like it was something that I would push back on, but I love it now. I actually was on Sniffy's the other day, and I was like, "You can call me sir," and he was like, "What?"
Ooh, see? Yeah. I love
He
that.
was
That's
like,
hot.
"No, I will not be doing that." I was like, "Blocked."
Yeah, if you forget it. Block. Is Daddy Come Oh, I would say if you listen to again, if you listen to some of the earlier shows, I remember the first time somebody called me daddy, and I was like, "What?" And I talked about it on this show. I wasn't ready for it. Now it's a compliment. So that
Yeah.
answers that question. Have you ever dated someone for what they represented? Meaning, I guess, labels and for what they no, I don't think I have. I've always gone for the person, and then maybe they were a twink, or I was interested in them, and then I realized, yeah, they're a daddy. So, not for the role, I went for the person. You?
Yeah, I don't think so. I date people like that. I like their brains. I don't really go for what's their role or what they fit into. It's nice. It's nice to look at sometimes, but it's definitely I date people because of their brains.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have any comments before we move on, Cody? Where I pull up our next
George says, "Aging is only a number. Keep your appearance up and live for the day."
love
I
it,
totally agree with
George.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good stuff. Let's keep that conversation going over on our tags Patreon community where we can talk about it all week long. You can get a free account tier. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. If you grab a paid tier, we have a brand new bonus episode coming out tomorrow. So either way, we
Mm.
appreciate you heading over there and we can keep this conversation going. Okay, well, we've got it to get into hot topics, and there's been a lot of buzz building around an unexpected douching hack, and a lot of hungry bottoms are all in. Researchers based in the UK claim to have come up with a unique alternative to douching, and their discovery has clearly struck a chord with gay men around the world. They have a Kickstarter they launched last week, which had a modest goal of 13,400 but is raised over 100,000. And a lot of hungry bottoms, including here in the US, pledged a whopping 233,000 in hopes of being among the first to get their hands on this new invention. What am I talking about? It's the first alternative to douching. Takes 30 seconds, no water required. It's made out of seaweed and a gelatinous ball. It's like, think of this little ball. All of a sudden, I'm
Like
thinking
what you play jacks with. It's as big as
yeah, I'm thinking of gerbils. All of a sudden, like you're putting this ball up your ass. But I watched this whole thing. I'll post this on Tags podcast. They invented the A ball. It's a firm-ish, squishy ball made from gelatin and alginate, which is like a gum derived from seaweed. The claim that if you pop the ball inside you, it pushes any poop in your lower rectum upwards, so the opposite directions, and out of the way. And it also stops any fecal matter from sigmoid colon from coming down and making a mess. It stays safely pushed up and against your second sphincter while you get railed. After 30 to
Oh.
60 minutes, you evacuate the A ball with your next bowel movement. So I think what this is really doing, Cody, which is kind of breakthrough in many ways, is that a lot of, and Dr. Goldstein, who's friend to our show, proctologist, often has stated on this show that we over clean, so if you're using one of those douche bulbs, often the bulbs are too large and we never think that we're clean enough. And what happens is you're probably good a couple of times, but then we over douche and then you start going higher and higher. Well, you might be good for a little bit, but then it can reactivate as time goes on. So if you did it at the beginning of the night and you over douche, then you're going to think that you're clean, but then you're ultimately not. This is apparently solving that problem. Now, here's the kicker, clincher, if you will. It's that
Mhm.
it's still in its phase of being tested, and it could be a while before this gets
Yeah.
down the road, and we don't even know. Would you buy into this because of the fear that many people have about not being clean?
Um, you know what? It sounds great, and I the name is kinda scaring me, though. It's A ball, like the letter A, and not 8 ball, like the letter 8.
Yeah,
Don't please don't stick an 8 ball up your butt, you guys, okay?
we've heard of those stories of all kinds of things people are putting up there.
But, yeah, this sounds great. I think that this is possibly it could be a great thing for if it works, if it gets tested, and,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are going to, avoid some messes out there, some shitty situations, if you will, by these new developments that are going on. So I'm here for it. I might buy my bottom a couple. Actually, you know what? I might bottom just to test it out.
Okay, well, you can donate to the Kickstarter and hopefully be a part of the trial phase and see if it
Cool.
works or not.
Let's
We'll put
do
you
it.
to the test. Okay,
Oh, wait. Why you gotta put me to the
did you
test?
wanna
What about
try?
you?
I mean, I listen to a lot of Dr. Goldstein and don't over when I wanna go there, and I think I
Mhm.
kind of understand it. I also diet-wise keep it, you know, without having that issue as much. So I haven't really had that problem, but I'm always for science and new features. So let's go. Let's get this on the market.
Yep.
Moving on, somebody said there's a gay TikToker that's 8 inches or more, sweetie. This gay TikToker's guide to catching print is going viral. Catching print, you said, is Cody.
It's when you can see the outline of the dick and you kind of while it's in pants, basically. So you can just kinda tell where it is the where by based on what the where the dick print is on the pants, exactly.
Dating coach Anwar White responded that you can figure it out. I'll read you what he figured out and how you can do this and see if he's right. When basically a girl pointed out that if you could see a man's dick like you could see a girl's boobs, a whole lot of men would be go, you know, because you can see the size of a girl's boobs just by they're out there, right? We can't see until we go home with somebody what it's really like, or go to the bathroom stall like I like to see what we're really dealing with before you bring them home. Well, he
Oh,
created this whole
yeah?
yeah, he created this whole chart called How to Catch Print, and it's type A, B, and C. Type A, you're looking at someone's crotch in their pants and you're looking where it peaks. If you're type A, the bulge peaks at the middle or above, right above the inseam. So if you're type A, you are, I believe, pretty small, and that could be
You're on the
okay
smaller
because
side.
you could be on the smaller side, and he if you listen to the whole TikTok, I'll post this on our Patreon community. He actually says that look at how it's on one of them he has it it might be type A, but it looks pretty wide. So he could be pretty thick. So that could be a good thing.
Girthy.
So you kind of got to get in there and look. Type B is the bulge peaks at the middle or lower of the inseam. And this is where he said these are the guys that their dick goes right to their ball sack or right below it. And I realize I might be in that B area, but I'm thinking type B,
No.
where the inseam. Type D is it's way much lower. It's the banana. It's wrapped shaped and it just goes way below the inseam and there it could be flat and then you see the peak of the man's pants. Do you like his science? Are you here for it? Or I mean, do we need to get like I don't know. I don't walk around with my glasses on the street, so I'm gonna be like going too close and
Getting
being
pretty close.
yeah, too close, and I'd be putting a lot of people in, you know, "Get away from me," kinda thing.
You're gonna get the cops called on you? Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I actually did try this today. I think it's you generally speaking, it's pretty accurate, but you know how in jeans, they're in the front when where the zipper is, where that flap is, sometimes they can bunch up a little bit. That's just the way the jeans are made. So I don't know. It
Yeah.
can be when you're in jeans, it's a little bit harder to guess where the break is.
But jeans can
But
also I
mhm,
remember walking I had a friend, and I was walking one direction on 19th Street here in Chelsea, of course, and my friend was walking the
mhm,
other way. He's like, "I can totally see the outline of your dick in those jeans because they were kinda more fitted, and,
yeah.
a good pair of jeans can really show the outline." He's like, "I can totally see the outline and how far it's going down." And I was like, "Oh, girl, alright, I love it." And he Yeah, I
Nice.
don't
But yeah,
know.
I'm here for this. I think that, it will help a lot of girls out there in the world. So yeah, why not? And
Yeah.
I heard it's empowering a lot of women because they'll tell them to be quiet, lower your tone when you're talking to me like that, you A cup.
Exactly, right, exactly, or just wear those gray sweatpants and call it a day where we can just see
Those short
everything.
shorts.
Yeah, those short shorts. I'm really happy and excited about spring, summer. Well,
Me
we had
too.
to mention, sadly, the owner of OnlyFans just died at the age of 43. I'm talking about Leon Leonid Radvinsky died of cancer over the weekend in Florida. He was, like I said, only 43. And they said in a statement, Leo passed away peacefully after a long battle with cancer. His family have requested privacy. But my goodness, he really put together one of the greatest platforms that we all have used or been on, or it was a really leading force, and it's now expected with the new if a new owner is going to keep it or they're going to sell it. So it remains to be seen what's to happen with OnlyFans. But a sad passing for an entrepreneur that really put something out that changed the landscape of porn.
Yeah, my heart goes out to him, and his family. So yeah, it's really sad, but he left his legacy and he left his mark on the world. So yeah.
Another sad loss for people that follow porn. Gay adult star Seth Peterson died at just 25. People around the world were sharing their condolences over Seth Peterson's sudden death this past weekend. He had a fiance, Cyrus Starr, posted a social media statement confirming Peterson's passing and sharing a GoFundMe page to help cover the funeral costs. He had done a lot of work with a lot of people and was really a favorite for a lot of fans and performers. A lot of people said he was very sweet. They
Mm,
just had a lot of nice things to say and really gone too soon. My goodness, so
yeah,
young. So another
it's really
rest
sad.
in power. Yeah. And it's always sad when you hear about those. Uh, Moving on to Tom Ford, the major designer of all time, is making a major life change, and it's about to cause a gay earthquake. He is, I mean, brought Estee Lauder he bought it for $2.8 billion. He sold his namesake to them. He bought the infamous house here in New York City by the none other than Halston, the famous pad that Halston owned, redid it, and is putting that on the market. He bought that for $18 million back in 2019, and now with all of his renovations, it's worth $45 million on the market. He
Wow.
lost his partner in 20 um, in he lost his partner in 2019, and they met in 1986. Richard Buckley, the pair had been together since 86, like I mentioned. They welcomed their son in 2012 and married in 2014. Buckley passed in 2021 at the age of 73. So they had a little bit of an age gap, not much, but a little bit, and now he is on the market as he has a brand new movie coming out. He's made two major films. His films are so artistic and so awesome. And his third one's coming out. He's looking though for a partner again. He's open to it,
I'm
but
available.
he said he's looking for somebody that might be a consultant that doesn't have to live in
Got
one
that.
place. So think somebody that has their own money,
Oh,
probably equivalent
damn
to
it.
at least his own money, and probably is somebody that's mature. But I
Oh, damn
mean,
it.
that man is very fine and is,
He's very
yeah,
fine. If he
we're
was
not
the
talking
broke,
about
immature
David
guy,
Geffen
call
on,
me. No.
yeah.
No, this is great. I'm happy for him that he's finally ready to get out there and get with and start mingling again. So
Yeah.
yeah, good luck to Tom Ford. He's beautiful.
Absolutely. And another beautiful man that you can see in New York soon on Broadway. I'm talking about Luke Evans is about to star in the Rocky Horror Show. And he's looking really good. Kodi, he's playing the character of.
Dr. Frankenfutter, originated by Tim
Absolutely.
Curry on film.
So cool. I can't wait for this to open. It also is starring Juliette Lewis, Michaela J. Rodriguez, who we love, Rachel Dratch. You said Stephanie Shu as well.
Yeah, I think she's in it. Stephanie Shu,
Yeah. And a host of others. It's going to
Boy
open here in
Radio.
Broadway. Yep.
Yeah,
Is going to be at
yeah.
the iconic Studio 54, and I cannot wait. Put this on your radar, Kodi. We are going for sure.
We are
The promos are
going.
looking really good.
Love
I
Rocky
cannot.
Horror.
Yes, I love it. Okay, well, we had to shout out when we talk so much about bars that are closing and we're losing Elmo and other bars throughout the country. 5 fabulous new queer bars are opening this spring and summer. I'll read you a few. Verse is opening up in Albuquerque, which is really exciting.
Oh,
Luke and Lucas are the owners of it, and I've been watching some of their videos on it. They have a beautiful brand new space that looks really cool. Next time I'm in Albuquerque, I would love to check that out.
let's go. Take a
Cathedral
left at Albuquerque.
Yeah, Cathedral City, which is next door to Palm Springs, is getting the Eagle Bar, which totally needed because they had a bar there before that shut down that was leather, right? And so
Hmm.
it really changed the landscape. It was my favorite place to go, but now at least they're getting an Eagle Bar, and this is really what a proper Eagle Bar. They're going into construction mode and doing it right, and it's going to be exciting the next time you go to, because if you go to Palm Springs, it's really like the next city over. It's a quick hop, skip, and a jump. Prism in Medford, Oregon is about to open up, and it's got a great new space. Daniel Tharp, one of the biggest figures behind the 20 strong team involved in the launch, told KDRV the hope is really to create a space for all members of the community and our community to come together and feel safe, included, and encouraged. So that's exciting over in Oregon. And Everywhere Social Club in Chicago, Illinois is going to be opening up. And Zachary Waltz is opening up this new space that is going to be alcohol free. Not that they're against
Oh,
alcohol, he said, but that they really want a space that's going to be cafe by day. And then it's going to move into really community and performances at night. And I think they've got a really good space and a good marketing team behind them.
lovely.
Fa- Fathom in Chicago is going to be in the Lakeview neighborhood. The team hopes that Fathom will open next month, and it's looks like it's got a great space as well. And Chicago, as we've been reporting on, really is they've got. I mean, Chicago's the place because
Chicago's fun.
remember the tale of two eagles that we reported on that are opening up.
Oh yeah,
They've
we
got a
still gotta
lot.
go
We still gotta go. We gotta
and give our
visit our
report.
give a visit our good listener friend James and go
Hi,
for what's
James.
the days called? The in the
Market
summertime
days.
market days. Yes, we gotta go for that. Oh
Cool.
my goodness, and a follow-up to the Pussycat Dolls, we mentioned that they are reuniting with my favorite, Nicole Scherzinger, and 3 of the other dolls, Ashley Roberts and Kimberly Wyatt, minus one of the dolls, Jessica Suta. And we didn't know much as to why. There's new indications now that Jessica was on a recent podcast and thinks the fact that she supported RFK Jr. and is MAGA, her words, MAGA, that's why she wasn't invited back to be part of this reunion tour. We mentioned that the Pussycat Dolls have a brand new song called Club Song. I heard it. Do you like it? It's cute.
I like it. It's cute.
It's cute. We'll see what the rest of it is, and that they're going to be on a tour, and they're going to be at WeHo Pride headlining. And so, what do you think about? Do you think they excluded Jessica for her quote unquote mega support?
The nice, a cordial answer is yes, it is. I've been in too many fights this week, so I'm not gonna go any further than that. But yes, I think that that is probably why I feel like maybe they want to distance themselves from that and a lot of the things surrounding that. So, and maybe they just don't agree with her, and they would rather her not be there because of her beliefs. So,
The
and
good thing
that's
was she
totally
said in an
their.
interview, yeah, she said she found out when they decided to do this, but she didn't seem that she was mad, but she wished them well. So
Yeah, and you know
seemed
what?
copacetic.
The members of Destiny's Child, Latavia and Latoya, they didn't know until the video came out, so it
Oh, here
happened.
we
So,
go.
girl.
I know. Oh, God. Never a good thing. Well, we love giving advice on this show, and today is no different. We'll give our handles at the end of the show, and you can always ask us for sex or relationship advice. This one comes from Reddit, where they ask the question discreet men and how to manage requests for face pictures before an online hookup visit happens. This is kind of interesting because we were talking about this on our last Tags Live with our special guest, and they wrote on this one interested to hear from other men about how you manage the dynamic where on online hookup apps or platforms before a hookup takes place, many guys request face pics. In the context of someone wanting to remain discreet and anonymous, no public face pics are initially online. In my case, I have ass, chest, cock pics, but no face. As my concern is these pics being used for malicious purposes if identified with my face, for example, work, professional implications. At some point in time before a hookup proceeds, I usually get asked for face pics, but my response has generally been it's only provided after a bit of chatting and sense of trust. What do you say to this? How do you answer to this, Cody? Do you provide the
Uh,
face pics? Do you even care?
I think I don't care at all.
I don't care.
I
I wouldn't
think that
care. Yeah.
I don't care. I've been on the apps, and I feel like a lot of guys, they'll have a completely blank profile, and then they'll send me this is gonna sound horrible.
Mhm.
Maybe I do want to fight. They'll send me a picture, and it's an expiring picture of their face, and I'm like, "You wanted to protect that? I don't understand."
Oh, wow.
But no, I understand that people want to be discreet. I understand that it's their duty. It's they have things to protect, but not everybody is trying to steal your identity. I think that if you're going to be on these apps, there's a certain amount of risk that you have to actually expect. And if you don't want to share your face, you don't have to share your face. There's somebody out there that will take you faceless. So
There's
there
also
that is.
disappearing pics, you could do that, I think, which can
Yeah.
be really
Grinder,
good.
you can't screenshot any of the pictures. I think you can on Sniffies. I'm not quite sure, but I feel
So I
like
like
that
that
has
side of it. I don't think somebody was asking on a different forum, what about giving your number? They were uncomfortable. I wouldn't give my number
I
initially.
just gave my
I
number out today. I honestly
Okay.
really do not care. I yeah, but I, like, live my life out. So, the
Yeah.
circumstances are different for me. So and, like, I live completely, like, you got a problem? Yes, I'm a faggot. So,
There you
what you
go.
gonna do
Yeah.
about it? So, it's different for me. I can't hardly even wrap my head around it because 'cause it's been so long since I was in the closet. So yeah, I good luck to them. I know that there's somebody out there that will fuck you without seeing your face.
Bryce watching us live says, if you're on an app, show your damn face and stop wasting time. Expiring pics are annoying. Okay. The people of, he sounds like he's agreeing with you, Cody. Just, yeah,
I
show your face.
mean,
I mean, kind
yeah,
of that mindset too, but I agree we're all not in the same place too.
we're not, and that's okay.
So, yeah. But
I'm
I'm
not
kind
gonna
of
fuck
with
you
that
if I
mindset
can't see
too.
your
I would like to,
face.
yeah, that's why I always said I like meeting people in real life because you can see I'm also the mindset I like to hear a voice. All those stuff matter to me, but yeah, everyone's in a different place. Oh my gosh, we could do this all night. So much fun.
Yeah.
Let's continue the conversation over on our tags Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. You can follow my lovely co-host, Kodi Maurice, and get his new EP, Thing of Beauty, with a brand new video coming out soon. Can't wait. We'll debut it or at least play it here on this
Oh, we're
show.
gonna debut it.
Thing of Beauty, wherever you get your music. Follow Kodi on Blue Sky and on Instagram at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am underscore Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay
sex.
sex.